2023. Joining us now, Captain Criss Turnipseed, the director of the Mississippi Highway Patrol Public Affairs Division. Captain, how you doing today, sir? Happy New Year.
Oh, I'm doing good, Gerard. Happy New Year to you too. I was concerned there. I thought I might have lost you there for a second, but I got back in there, so good deal.
Yeah, we got you going. All right, give us an update. How'd we do over the weekend?
We're looking pretty good so far. I was just sitting here during your break. I was looking at totals from last year and this year. I'm going to say that this holiday, this New Year's this year, wasn't quite as many travelers as it was last year. I see not as many citations written, but we only had one fatality this holiday season. Last year it was two. But just looking at the number of crashes, it's a lot lower. It was considerably lower this season than it was last year. So that the number of crashes kind of tells me what the flow of traffic was and how much traffic we had. So troopers did a good job. We still are in our last day. We actually consider today is the actual day most people observe New Year's, since it fell on a Sunday, kind of like Christmas last week. So our troopers are kind of trying to sweep it up today and finish off today and get everybody that was out and traveling for the New Year's weekend home today. So tomorrow will be our big numbers and actually be our final count. But right now we're looking pretty good in relation to what we did last year.
Good. So it sounds like we did better, and we certainly appreciate the troopers for keeping our roadways safe over the busy travel weekend. Was it bigger than Christmas, New Year's travel weekend?
I'm going to say no. I would say Christmas last weekend was a little bit considerably more crashes, definitely more fatal crashes. It's just kind of weird because we went from a 70-degree weekend last weekend. It's swimming pool weather this weekend. So
yeah.
I don't know what's going on here at this Mississippi weather, but last weekend was definitely, it seemed to be a lot more traffic on the roads than it was this weekend. And that's kind of maybe a trend. A lot more travelers out, a lot more long distance travelers on Christmas opposed to New Year's.
Well, I got to ask you, how do we do with the seat belts?
Okay. I figured you were going to ask me that. Let me get right here at my numbers here, because that's our big one. We did better this year than we did last year. It was over 1,000. I remember from last year.
Gosh.
Over the holiday weekend on New Year's, and this year we're around a little bit over 600 over the weekend with occupant restraint. So it's better as far as how many tickets we're running for that. I don't think we had as much traffic on this New Year's holiday as we did last year. So my sample might be kind of off there a little bit on what I'm basing it on. But still, that's a lot of people with no seat belts. And I remember over the Christmas holiday, none of our fatal crashes were restrained.
I remember you telling us that. Yeah.
Unrestrained. So that seat belt's definitely something that you might want to consider. In case you get in a crash and you want to make it out the other side. So we've been preaching that.
Well, I got to tell you, I've been sharing this. I didn't mean to talk over you. Apologize for that, Captain. I've been sharing this information with just people in my circles, friends and so forth, and they're all scratching their head. We don't know anybody that doesn't buckle up as soon as they get in their vehicle. So when I share with them these numbers, they're astonished. As I was first time you shared them. What can we do to improve this situation? I know you guys preach it. We certainly talk about it here on the program. Do you think that by citing folks for not having their restraints on, does that change their behavior, hopefully, after that?
Well, George, it's like anything, if you don't do something, that you're supposed to do, and you attach a consequence for it, which the consequence for not wearing the seatbelt, the fine's not even a moving violation, and it's very minimal of what the costs are. So I don't necessarily know that, you could go that route with citations and try to, enforce people into wearing seatbelts. I'm always of the opinion of the mind that I think education and just it starts at birth. When you start putting your kid in that child restraint as a young child, and they've always got in their car and wore their seatbelt, from the time they're, tiny to all the way to adult. And when it comes to habit, I think establishing good habits is always uh, the best way, I think, for people to wear their seatbelts. A lot of the folks you see they're not restrained probably weren't restrained as kids either, and they just kind of
Good point.
bad habits as they grew up. Sometimes, people get in a car and just forget. I will say, there's times people jump in and are quick trying to go somewhere just up the road, and they don't get it. When I get in this truck, if I don't put my seatbelt on, which I always do, but something happens, I pull it into the driveway in the morning, it's going to be dinging at me, before I
Yeah.
get to the mailbox. So that it
Yeah.
reminds me. But if you've got that habit of just getting in, my kids are the same way. As soon as they get in the car, I don't even have to say anything. They put their seatbelt on because it's just habits they've had since they were young. I think it's just something as parents, fathers, mothers, a family that you just got to do. You just got to teach your kids, and hopefully when they get out and get away from you and become adults themselves, that they'll stick to those habits. Like I say, you can go the enforcement route. I don't necessarily know. We've been writing tickets for restraints and occupant restraints for a long, long time. There is a result when people see us. They do put their seatbelts on because they don't want to get a ticket. But, what's going to help is when you put it on right in your driveway before you pull out on that roadway. And it's just, that's hard to do from an enforcement point of view, is get them to get, as soon as they get in the car, and make them put it on. Everybody wants to put it on when they come up to a checkpoint or they see a police officer or what have you. But, sometimes that's not enough to get people to actually wear it regularly.
Yeah. New year just kicked off here a day ago. What's on tap at the Highway Patrol? Are there any new laws that perhaps we should be aware of, or any new programs, initiatives you guys got going on you want to share with us?
Well, law-wise, I haven't seen our law brief yet. I'm sure there's some things that'll get moved in. There's not a lot of, this is, I believe that we're getting to election year, so I don't know if there'll be a lot of laws that are passed this year. I know that we're trying to start I don't know what we're trying to. We are starting a new patrol school here, a new cadet class here at the end of January. So that's kind of what we're focused on right now, is getting ready to start another patrol school and trying to add some men and women to our ranks to help us get our numbers up. So come these holiday periods next year, we'll have some more help out there on the road. We've had a good bit of retirement, a lot of good turnover, and people, timing out, aging out of the system, and we've got to replace those troopers because we've got to keep that refreshed, so we can keep the manpower out here on the road, so we can provide public safety adequately.
Yeah, and something else that is probably worth touching on is we have received a fair amount of money funding for new roads and bridges, and so that could cause some disruption to the normal flow of traffic that I think motorists probably ought to be aware of. Is there anything in particular we need to consider when we approach these construction sites and the orange barrels and the workers and so forth?
Well, always, my approach to that is always a vision that's somebody in your family that's out there working out there on the road. I mean, I know we get busy in our cars and our vehicles doing what we want to do, and we don't pay attention to what's going on around us. We're not mindful of those folks, but those folks out there that are working and on the sides of the road, whether they be, laying, resurfacing the road or cutting grass or doing anything on the side of the roadway, they're family. They have families, and we just need to be watchful and mindful and putting those phones down, slowing down to a safe speed. We have we call them details now, where we're able to put troopers in those construction zones, kind of watch out and kind of make sure that those people are safe there, working those construction zones. And patience. I mean, progress is always going to be a little bit inconvenience for some folks. You might have a lane closure, right, left lane. You got to be mindful, be patient if you got to merge over. And people just need to, be mindful of, they're out there trying to make that roadway better, trying to make it safer for us, and just give them a break while they're working. Let them do what they got to do, because when they get done, it's going to be a better way to travel through those areas.
Yeah. It's good advice. I was just thinking about that with a fair amount of funding coming our way. Brad White, executive director of a DOTD, on with Gallo earlier and was talking about it. So likely to see more of it. We just need to slow down, be careful, be mindful of those situations, and it could disrupt traffic. But on the other side of that, it's going to be an improvement in our roads and bridges. Captain, appreciate, as always, sir, you joining us today on Middays and giving us an update. Happy New Year to you and to all the state troopers, and please express our gratitude for their service to the state of Mississippi. Thank you.
We will, Drawer. I appreciate you letting me on. Look forward to the next time we get to share some more about our highway patrol and what we got going on. So, y'all have a great New Year too, and we'll talk to you soon.
You got it. Middays is stepping aside for a break. Coming right back.